Hey everybody, this is going to be a video on how to use R Markdown. I'm going to presume that this is the very first time you've used R Markdown, so we had to do the what is it, how do you use it, why would you want to use it, all of that good stuff. So when you're writing code in R, typically you're writing in a script, and you've written a bunch of code, and now you want to communicate that code to someone else. Well, it is a bad idea to sit down and try and walk through your code with someone else. What you want to do is you want to weave your code and your plots and all of your figures and all of that stuff in with some good interweaving exposition. And you want it to look like a nice professional document. So R Markdown is the tool that actually takes the communication that you want to do, builds it into a nice professional document that has your code sitting behind the scenes, so that when you compile the whole thing, the output of your analysis shows up within your document. So I've got a version of RStudio opened up here, and I'm just going to do a new R Markdown, and it asked me for all sorts of things. So it asked me for a title, an author, all that stuff, so I'm just going to give it a title. The author is me. HTML, PDF, or Word, that really depends on who your audience is. I actually prefer to do HTML because HTML format's pretty flexible. You can open it in any web browser. It works for basically anybody. It'll resize to the shape of your phone or your tablet or your computer, whatever. So I'm going to do that. And it opens up this document for me. So remember my motto from past videos, ignore and explore. The first thing I want you to do is ignore some of the front matter. There's things that are going on up here in the very beginning of this document you don't need to worry about right now. All right, so I'm just going to scroll down. What this is a collection of text, a markup language, so a language that tells the computer, okay, I want this to be bold, I want this to be a section header, I want this to be underlined, I want this to look like code, all of those sorts of things. And then some code. Now the generic default here, if I just save it and run it, so I'm just going to do a save as, I'm just going to do generic markdown as its name, and save it. The running or the compiling, or actually the way RStudio calls it, is the knitting, somebody with a good sense of humor. You see the knit menu here. I'm going to knit this to HTML. It runs a couple chunks of code there, and what it generates for me is an HTML document that has text. Notice that here's the header that we had, there's the header that output. Here's the text that we had. Here, oops, I did not mean to click on the R Markdown. Oops. Go away, Chrome, I don't need that. Here's the text that we had. We had code embedded here. It wanted the summary of the cars data, and it gave me the summary of the cars data. It had another header with some text and a plot, and there's my header, my text, and my plot. You can turn the exposition, the code, and your results into a beautiful document that you could then share and talk people through. And if I then open this, last thing I'm going to show you in this video, I'm just going to pull this in and open it in Chrome. It is just a web page, and I can scroll through and I can share this web page. Everything in here is static, unfortunately, so you can't run the code from in the web page, but still, this is a really nice way to output your code. So I'm going to write several videos now that walk you through how to do some of the ins and outs of writing a nice looking document in R Markdown.